Hi, I am so excited. My guest this week is Natalie Guzman, CEO of Nadora. Natalie's story is truly inspiring. She's a former foster kid turned CEO and has a passion for helping entrepreneurs around the world manage and run their businesses as a virtual assistant. Natalie decided to take all that knowledge she gained and start Nadora.org, an online software that equips businesses with all of their essential tools they need to create and manage marketing campaigns, nurture customer relationships, and effortlessly collect and nurture leads. Natalie now travels the world speaking and teaching entrepreneurs about how to create a digital business by improving websites and automating business processes. Natalie joins me today to discuss these strategies to help entrepreneurs. Lean in, me timers. I hope you enjoy the podcast. All right. I am so excited to have you on the show today, Natalie. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you. So, I always start the show by asking all guests about a mental victory vibe celebration. And that's something you've done for yourself to pour into your own cup. So, Natalie, what have you done for yourself lately?
Yeah, so I have been reading. I love to read. That's what fuels my soul. It's my little escape from reality. And I have been making sure that I read every single night. And then that way, at the end of the day, it comes back to me, right? So reading is what kind of brings it all together and makes me happy.
That's nice. I like to read too, but it's nice that you've committed to that. This is what I'm going to do. You can
Yeah,
like to read and then do a spirit, periodically when you have the time. But I like the commitment to it.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, I'm a busy mom and business owner, and so
Mhm.
pouring into myself is really important to me, but I don't necessarily get enough time to do so. So I think reading at night once the kids are in bed is something that I can definitely easily commit to and still, take care of myself.
I love it. So, what would you say your personal empowerment theme song is?
Ooh, so my theme song, I think I have a couple.
Okay.
Um, I do, but it depends on the mood, right? But lately, it's actually been kind of funny. I've been playing "Juice" by Lizzo,
Okay.
like 24/7. That is like my wake up, got my coffee, because she talks about how she is like a boss woman and strong, and she's like, I don't know, just like how she carries herself in that song. I'm like, that's me all day long.
She said, "That is me. I'm feeling that. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. Boss chicks, unite."
Exactly. I love it. It's such a good song.
I'm so excited because the September theme is really geared for entrepreneurs to really provide them with tips and tricks to have guests on the show that can provide different insights, different things for ways for them to look at approaching their businesses, approaching their own mindset, approaching just different things. But what I really like about your business is you're all about that virtual assistant process, automation. And let me tell you, I'm going to be learning today too, because I know you're going to read me without knowing that you're reading me. So I'm prepared for that today.
So ready.
So tell us your backstory.
Yeah, so my story into entrepreneurship is actually really crazy. Me and my husband were trying to have a family, and unfortunately, we experienced multiple miscarriages. And we were finally in that safe zone of pregnancy. We were so excited. So I told my job, and they told me I had 2 days to give birth, and then I would have to go back to work.
Girl.
Yeah, I was livid, especially because it was a high risk pregnancy. So, of course, my mind was on my baby. Like, that would not be okay for my baby, let alone for my body, which was struggling as it was. And she ended up being a preemie, 32 weeks, 3 pounds. So, I'm very glad that I quit immediately at that job and I started looking for ways to make money from home, but also to be my own boss because I didn't want to give another company that much control over my life ever again, and over my family's life and well-being either. So I found virtual assistant and I landed my first client while in labor. And
Wait a
I
minute.
also,
What did you say? Did you say while in labor?
while I was in labor, I signed a client and I signed for a brand new house while in labor. The poor realtor, he was this young guy, didn't have kids. And he comes with the paperwork into our room where I'm like having contractions and we had to sign.
Girl, boss it up, boss it up.
Yeah. So it was
Wow.
crazy. And I turned it into an agency that hit six figures within 3 months. And it's still a thriving business today. So
I love it. I think we definitely, as entrepreneurs, we go this route for several different reasons. But there are also folks that they don't want to be entrepreneurs. They just want to continue on the way they're continuing on. They're fine with that. And I think that's okay too. So I'm really interested too in any tips you could get provide for them to in their day to day. So I'm going to hop right into the question. Okay.
sure.
Because the first question I have is about website design.
All right.
Now, let me tell you, I made my own mistakes there. So when I'm really interested here, I will listen attentively. Um, so, for anyone that's seeking to understand website design and automation, where should they start first?
Ooh, great question. And also, because I know not a lot of people relate virtual assistants to website design, I do have another company that lets entrepreneurs create websites, automations, funnels, and all those fun things together.
Oh,
And so that's kind of where I was doing so much website design as a VA that I turned it into a second company as well. So I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to building websites and funnels and all that fun stuff. I think where it starts is starting with your customer journey, right? We all have an idea of where we want our customer to go. So that starts with where do you find them? What's the first like free offer that you're going to offer them? And then from there, you might have a baby offer, just get them like this, get them to commit, even if it's little amount of money. And then the bigger offer, right? And so you actually build your website around your customer journey. So for instance, we have a tree industry client, and their goal is to get the customer on a call, right? And so that way they can talk, find out their needs, find out more about them. They want from the website to go to a phone call. And so we have call them now buttons all throughout the website. We have a big pop-up that says hit this button and you can call them right from your phone if you're using the mobile phone. So everything is surrounded that phone call. And I think it's really important, like a lot of people don't realize, you need to reflect where you want your customer to go in your website.
I think that's really interesting. So you made a couple of great points, and I think I definitely want to clarify around that. So the virtual assistant business and the website design business. So those are two different funnels.
Yeah, those are two different websites, but they kind of commingle because I have this team called the Marketing Mavens that our software company Nadora. You, if you need help like with your software building websites, you can contact the Marketing Mavens, and they will go in and they're basically a team of virtual assistants. And they will go and help you with whatever you need. So I've kind of mingled both of them together. Um, but because my NG virtual assistant is so old and I've had it for a really long time, it kind of has its own brand and reputation. I still keep it a little bit separate.
Okay, so let's talk about the difference between the two because I did have a lot of questions about process and automation, and I definitely want to get into that too.
Sure.
But let's talk about the virtual assistant benefits and what that can do for an entrepreneur or even someone that just has an extremely busy schedule. And when is the best time for someone to really consider that? Because I know if you are just starting out or you been really trying to get it off the ground, but you are really busy and you're not sure if you can afford. a virtual assistant that may hold you back. So, can you provide some tips and tricks around that for
Mhm.
entrepreneurs to know when is the best time to make that jump? When is the best time to start to really have those conversations and think about it?
Yeah, so everyone hires a virtual assistant for one of two reasons. Whether you're trying to save time or you're trying to make more money. So I think that's the first thing that you have to look at is, am I trying to save time? Am I just like really overwhelmed? I'm close to burnout. Do I need to invest some money to have a virtual assistant? You might need to. Most entrepreneurs do. Or you can utilize a virtual assistant to make you more money. So they end up paying for themselves in the long run,
Yeah.
which is like the smartest way to go about it, especially if you're starting out. But virtual assistants all have different prices, packagings. You can do US based virtual assistants or you can do overseas. Overseas are usually cheaper, but you will have to put more training into them. So if you are doing a lower price, you're probably going to have to put more time into that. So there's just some things to keep in mind. But I think everyone could use a virtual assistant. I even had one just to do paperwork from all the paperwork that comes with being a mom. I had them filling out like the doctor reports and like for getting we move every 2 years. So every 2 years, I'm having to get new doctors. So I need someone to fill out that paperwork because I just don't have the time to do it. Or if I'm signing my kids up for sports, very simple questions, but there's a lot of paperwork that goes into it. That first job I mentioned, I was a family manager. So I ordered school supplies. I handled scheduling appointments, calling doctors' offices on behalf of the family, and keeping a med schedule and all sorts of things. And I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. But really, you can use a virtual assistant for so much more, if not just business. And so if you're looking on how you can afford, you can just start out with a couple hours a week. I mean, majority of my clients start out at 5 hours a week and then they keep upping it, right? So as they grow, they increase their hours. So those are just some things to keep in mind if you're just starting to look out for a virtual assistant. Oh, and you can even do one-time projects. So maybe you have a podcast and you just need help editing your podcast. You can just do a one-time project. That sound familiar? We're just talking a little bit about this because it can be overwhelming doing it all by yourself. So maybe just doing just hiring someone to create maybe just one episode, just test it out and see how it works for you.
I like the idea. You incorporated it in different ways. The first point that I like to call out is a virtual assistant doesn't always have to be geared toward a business or entrepreneurship. It can be also with household management. And we all know as we can get pretty hectic with kids and all of the things that they are involved in that you also have to keep up with for yourself and everyone else in the family. So I really like that idea. I never really considered a virtual assistant to fill out paperwork for the schoolwork because you know what? That is something I wish I had considered early on because, girl, they send them little paper, that package of paperwork
Yeah.
home when the kids first go back. You're like, oh my gosh.
And if you have more than one or two children, oh my goodness. For two kids, it took me about, I think, 2.5 hours. And it wasn't just the school, like the bus sent me paperwork and their school after school programs. Everyone was sending me paperwork. And I was like, this is so much.
It is. And you get a pediatrician, getting them in for annual wellness visits. It's a lot. I do like that can also be a thought for moms out there that's like, oh, I am at the brink of
Mhm.
running around the block 16 times and then hiding in the closet.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I love that idea. So tell me about a little bit more about the website design. You know, I had to go back to it. I did because I made so many mistakes with my website.
Yeah.
So, and I learned along the way. And I'm so glad that I was able to find a community where Renee, that's probably not the best idea because we really learned through a trial and error.
Mhm.
And for entrepreneurs right now that are in that trial and error, what are some common pitfalls that they can avoid with their website design?
Ooh, I think the biggest I see with entrepreneurs is the colors. We go off the colors that we like and not necessarily our brand colors, or at the end of the day, we're trying to attract a specific audience. So I am a woman. I love bright pink colors. I know not all women do, but I do tend to like, the brighter, fun colors, like yellow, pinks, blues. But I work with a lot of men in my industry. And so they're not attracted to more of the girly colors, as we call them. It's not necessarily the correct term, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So,
I'm
but
feeling you because I'm a pink. I'm all about it. I'm about that pink.
yeah,
So
but my husband looks at a pink website. He's like, see you later. So,
yeah, exactly. And yeah,
so
yeah.
you have to keep that in mind. Is that what your target market is attracted to? And even you can go into the meaning of colors. Like my first business, it was all blues because that was calming and confidence. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's what I want to give entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So you can go into like the whole color meaning, but if you already have a logo, your logo has a specific set of colors that should be part of your brand. And you should also have fonts that you're using so you're consistent within your marketing. This goes into a whole branding lesson I could talk hours on. But you want to make sure that your website is reflected in your brand because that's the main place that you're really bringing people to besides social media. You're attracting them on social media, you're probably closing them on your website. So you want to make sure that your social media is also consistent with your website because you want to continue that brand so they don't look at the website and be like, "Oh, is this really the person I was just on their social media or is this spam?" That's usually what people think. So you really want to just keep consistency within your brand and having a set colors, fonts, all those things are really important.
So for someone that's newly starting out, they know they need a website. Of course, website builders out there. All kind of things are out there to select from when you're choosing a website. Um, is it best for them to try it on their own or maybe outsource?
It's probably going to save them a lot of time, mistakes, and stress outsourcing it. But I understand being really tight on finances. My first website I created myself. Eventually, I got a lot better and redesigned it. And then I had a team go in and help redesign it as well. So you can eventually outsource too. If you just need something for right now, as you're growing your business, you can definitely do it on your own, but you're probably going to make mistakes and you're not going to like show up on SEO, on Google searches and things like that. But you could at least have a basic information website. I would say my advice would be one, keeping simple colors, use 3 to 4 colors. Don't have many more than that. Have all of your call to action buttons. The colors should be the same color. Unless you have one that really needs to stand out, make it a different color that stands out. Make sure that color stands out as well. Um, and then also making sure that we're using same shapes. So you don't want your website to ever look chaotic. So if you're using hexagons, circles, squares within your buttons, within your pictures, within your background, within your layout, it's going to look chaotic and stressful. And the last thing we want is a potential customer feeling overwhelmed because our site is chaotic. That's going to be the first thing that makes them leave. So just trying to keep it, simple but classy and reflecting your brand is really important.
Well, a lot of times, and this is personal experience too. I've had with my website. You get these emails all the time. I want to
Mhm.
audit your website. Can I audit your website? And I'm looking at this email like this. I don't know if I want this person. What is this? Is this spam? What should someone do if they're constantly getting those type of emails?
Oh man, I get those too. And I don't necessarily trust them because I don't have a way to see their reviews. I don't have a way to really know who they are. It's basically the same as cold emailing. Now, some cold emails I have clicked on because they either leave like a review or a testimonial or something within the email. But when I get an email like that through my form on my website, I've never hired anyone like that because I have no trust in them. And that's kind of what you want to build as an entrepreneur is trust with your potential clients.
I like that. That actually segues into my next question because when you're building trust, when you're trying to grow a business, when you're really just trying to get out there, because it's a lot to really just get out there and to battle your own imposter syndrome if you're like, are they going to like it? So many things, so many feelings, so many emotions. But when you're thinking about tasks and processes, is automation something that should be considered right away? Or should the business grow a little bit first before someone starts to think about automation?
Oh no, start automation right now. It's going to save you so much time and stress. You will be thanking me. Automation is saving me 32 hours a week in my business right now. Yes, I don't even have to pay someone that. I used to pay people that. And now, because I have automation, I don't. The biggest thing with automation, especially if you have automation that connects to your CRM, is you want to collect as much data as possible on everyone that comes to your website. So, my favorite automation is that I think all entrepreneurs need to have right away is on your website, you'll have a form that collects their information. You might be giving them a freebie. It might be a discovery call, just something free for them to connect with you. And then you collect their name, their email, and possibly their phone number, if that's what you wish. And then you create an automation that tags them as how they're contacting you. So if they downloaded a freebie, if they schedule a discovery call, have it tag that term into your CRM. And then your next automation part is going to be send them an email. It'll send an automatic email that thanks them for doing that action and any next steps they might need to know or any additional information they might need to know about you and your company. And then do a follow-up sequence where you're continuously connecting with them. And there's so much that you can do with that. The possibilities are endless. It's not all just via email and text. There's automation systems like Nadora that you can send like automated DMs on Instagram and things like that. So there's a lot of possibilities that you can do to really connect with people.
So you said CRM,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand what you mean there. But when I first started, when folks would say CRM to me, I would have the deer in the headlights look because I'm like, what in the crackle ham sandwich are you talking about? So can you talk a little bit about how what the CRM is and why
Mm-hmm.
it's so important?
Yeah, so it's your customer relationship manager, basically your digital phone book, right? But so much more. So this is going to track, of course, their basic information, name, phone number, email, whatever you're collecting in a form. That form can then put that information into your CRM. You can also upload it like using a spreadsheet or manually. There's so many different ways. Just the form automation is the easiest and my go-to way of putting information into a CRM. And then you can store, like if you have a podcast, you can store headshots. You can have any information, like their social media things are all on there. You can see when you last contacted them. You can create follow-up reminders, when to follow up with them. There's just so much that can go into it, especially depending on the CRM source you're using as well.
So when you're thinking about CRM sources, you really have to have a good idea or at least um, an idea, a
Mhm.
basic idea of what you're hoping to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of them are really customizable. Like Nadora, you can create custom fields. So if there's something that you don't think a CRM will have, you can create it in Nadora, which is really cool. And there's a couple other CRM softwares out there like that. Just make sure it says that it can do custom fields, so that way you can really customize it to what you want. And you can also like develop pipelines. So if you don't know what pipeline is, it kind of goes back to the customer journey. It shows where your lead or customer is in your customer journey process. And so that's really important. That's automated. A lot of CRMs have that. And I think it's really, really important, especially if you want to scale in the future.
I think you've said some really important things here because I can remember starting out and I didn't know what a CRM was. So I didn't see it as valuable. And then as I started to learn more about my business and what I wanted to do, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I get on this bandwagon with a CRM? And then I had another worry of, am I too late?
Mm.
So, for any entrepreneur that's out there that has not established a CRM strategy or looked into some vendors or even did some Google University education to understand it more, is there a too late? Is really what I want to know. We don't. You sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right? Is there a too late? Is that a pitfall by saying, I don't understand it, so I'm not going to do it right now. But 8 months later, you're like, why aren't I getting any leads?
Yes, it can definitely hinder your business not having one and not having it set up. I actually have a client that has been an entrepreneur since the early 90s and had no idea what a CRM was. And they had all their contacts on a Google spreadsheet, but
Wow.
they also haven't brought home a paycheck for themselves in 5 years. And I feel like this is one of the biggest reasons why, because they haven't been able to scale. They're paying, all their money is going to their employees, and they're not able to scale or make a profit because they're not able to see all the data. So they don't know where customers are falling off. They don't know when they last contacted that person unless they like manually look it up in their email inbox, right? And so they can't just look at a sheet and see where their customers are and where they are on their journey, and it's hindering their business majorly. So it's really, I think it's never too late to start a CRM, but there is a too late where you'll be affected by not having a CRM.
Okay. I think that's a great call out because, when you start out, it's very overwhelming
Yeah.
because the first thing that you find out is I need to have a presence on social media. Let me tell you something. If you did not have a presence on social media, did not have a business account, you're like, how do I do this? What does this mean? So I'm glad that you clarified that. I really think having that foundational information and really trying to understand it is important. Now, could you tie in how a virtual assistant can help with that CRM setup so that the entrepreneur or the person, if you will, that's the founder and CEO is not feeling so overwhelmed with, I have to do so much of this? What's the best way to have a project virtual assistant or just a virtual assistant and know that they are familiar with those type of setups?
Yeah, so I would definitely start with when you're looking for a virtual assistant, asking them if they have experience with CRMs. But also, if you look for an executive assistant, I think that should be every person's first hire because it's literally going to be like your business's best friend. This is the person that is going to come up with really great ideas. They're going to push your business forward. I have an amazing one that is now a co-owner of Nadora. So she started out as my VA and then she turned into this essential part of my business. And she helps me grow so much as a business owner and as a business itself. So it's really important to find those people. And I feel like an executive assistant is your best shot at having really great growth in a short amount of time. And most executive assistants know everything there is about CRMs. And or if you just want someone to set up your CRM and your automations, you can do it as a one-time project and then have them make sure they record a video at the end showing you how to take care of this further in the future.
That's a great idea. Have them record a video because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, of course, there are many project based freelance type companies out there, Fiverr, Freelancer, different things like that. They give you photos of the work that they've done, but you may not get a video. So I really think that's a nice idea when you're thinking about project based.
Mm-hmm.
And what advice would you have for an entrepreneur that's using a Fiverr? And they have a contractor doing that work for them? Should they request a video so they can understand?
Yeah, never be afraid to ask for something. The virtual assistant, especially if it's Fiverr, they're not probably going to offer you more than what's in the job description. So it might cost you a little bit more depending on what their rates and such are. But just I would say the value you get from that video recording is absolutely amazing. And then also Fiverr, I would go for one-time projects. Upwork, I would go if you want more of like a long-term relationship with a virtual assistant. So those are the two biggest difference. Fiverr one-time projects, Upwork is more like hourly, so many hours a week.
Okay. Okay. And I think you've made some great points here that um, automation should be from a day one. So as you're planning and you're deciding, consider what you can automate now. The next tip that I've taken away is understand your CRM, understand who your target market is and how you're going to get to that target market and um, convert those to leads. Try to use the right terminology.
You
Uh,
did.
it's funny because I was talking to my son. This is off topic, but I was talking to my son about boxing for one of my products, and I said, when I scale up, it's going to be a Rolodex box. He was like, "You mean Rolex?" I was like, yeah. I'm just ahead of it when I'm thinking. Sometimes, my son is 28, so sometimes it's like, oh gosh, here she go. But I got one leg up on both of them because you talked about a phone book. So
Yeah.
they're Googling what a phone book is right now. I'm
Did
just
you hear that kids now are going to the bank and they're being asked for their social and they think it's Instagram? I think it's the funniest thing ever. I've been hearing all these stories. Kids are being asked what their social is and they don't understand the question. I love it.
I mean, like my my youngest will never know what it's like to not have like social media or not to have the internet or not to
Yeah.
have technology. It's very interesting to me. It's a nice little chuckle. So sometimes I purposely say, "Go find this for me," when I know that it's something before tech.
Yeah.
So that's a 2-3 hour project.
Yep.
I'm
I
just saying that's
remember
a small
when
tip, moms. Moms, that's a small tip out there.
I remember when computers first came, and my stepfather got one. He was a business owner, so he got one of the first computers our town had ever seen. And I was sitting there waiting for that dial-up tone.
It's so interesting to me. I always say, "Oh no, this is a BT,"
Yeah.
and my baby will say, "What?" Before tech,
Or
honey.
tech.
Before tech. I really like the idea of the virtual assistant. I really like the idea of all the automated ideas that you've put out for entrepreneurs today. What additional guidance would you give someone that's like, man, this is great? Where can I learn more? What additional advice would you give for them? And how would they be able to find you?
Yeah, so we actually have a whole training program in Nadora called Nadora U. So it's like a whole university for entrepreneurs, and it's I have experts from all over the world that are the best at what they do, and they teach a course and they put it in Nadora. So it's really cool. You should check it out, and that will help entrepreneurs that are just starting out really learn business basics, website design, automations, how to set up your customer journey and so much more. We even have like copywriting. There's so much in there. The possibilities are endless. So you can check that out at nadora.org. And you can find me on, virtual assistants is ngvirtualassistant.com. And then you can find me on social media. It's Natalie Guzman.
Wow. Oh my gosh, girl. I look, I'm going to check that out.
You should.
I have one more question for you.
Go ahead.
What advice would you give your younger self to help cultivate self-trust?
Yeah, I think what I would tell myself is that, you know, you're going to have everything you dreamed of. You just have to keep on trugging along,
Mm.
because I eventually got to where I wanted to be. We didn't really mention this, but I was a former foster kid. So I just wanted that family, the dog with the fenced in yard, the two kids, a boy and a girl, the amazing husband, and then a way to make money on my own. And I did all of that. I have the boy and the girl, I got the dog, I got the fenced in yard, and I got the business. So
I love that. I love that. I my grandson was in foster care for a little bit, and I always when I finally got him. I always tell him, "You're a mogul. You're a
Mhm.
mogul. You stand in the mirror and you say you're a mogul." You know, and I love to hear that story because we hear so much negativity. But here's the thing, guys: just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going. The dream is possible. Keep believing in yourself. And thank you for sharing that. You're gonna make me tear up. Why? Why you're gonna make me tear up? I try to keep the tears down, but it's like creeping in my eyes because I think it's so important for folks to hear,
Yeah.
you know, and for that young adult that's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it because I'm in foster care right now and I don't think I have it." Natalie just told you it was possible. Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, girl. You know, so I'm going to extend that invitation to you as well. You know, I am going to start panel discussions in 2024. Would you mind coming back and just chopping it up on a panel discussion with
Yeah.
3 other women?
I would love that. That'd be a blast.
All right. Thank you so much. You know, you educated us on what certain things are, the best tactics to take, but at the same time, you let us know that the dream is possible.
Definitely is.
I just really appreciate that. And me timers, check this out. Entrepreneurs, September is all about you. All of the things that you need, all of the feels. And check out Adora,
Nadora.
Nadora. Okay, Nadora, because that might be the place where you can find information that you have not found before. So you've heard it here first on Me Time with Mind Escape Vibe, where it is your time to be kind to your mind. You have a great day now.